I'd like to welcome Dave Kraft. Thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome, Doug.
Dave is responsible for leadership development for the Resurgence, and has just done a conference here in Moscow, and we have profited greatly by it. And we wanted to follow up with a few questions for you, if we might. The conference you did for us was in your area, which is leadership development. Could you begin by giving us your understanding of what leadership is? What is it?
Well, Doug, at the conference, I basically said you can think of leadership in three arenas. It's who the leader is, has to do with his character, relationships, just the core, the personal life of the leader.
Right.
You know,
Character.
fruit of the Spirit, Christ, calling, just the deeper issues with his life or her life. And then the second part of it is where the leader's going. So my definition of a leader is somebody who has a vision, a dream, a burden, something that's bothering him. And so he's looking at that. He's looking into the future. Leadership has a lot to do with the future.
Okay.
So it's where the leader's going. And then the third piece of it would be the leader then is bringing other people, rallying other people to travel along toward that better future, that vision. So it's who the leader is, where the leader's going, and what the leader's doing to bring other people along and to build a team to help him reach that vision.
Okay, so godly character, vision for the future, and clout with other people, sway with, able to bring people to share that vision and go with him.
Right.
So would you say that a leader is heavily future oriented?
Definitely. I think leadership is about seeing something that doesn't exist or that could happen, that hasn't yet happened, and then moving forward by God's grace to try to facilitate that happening.
So he can see things that are, as it says in scriptures about this, seeing things that are not as though they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And God, it usually starts with God, because God gives that person, if it's a God-given vision, God gives that person the ability to see something. There's communication, there's hearing from God about something that could be in the future, and that leader sees that and then embraces that, then it starts moving toward that preferred future, that better future.
Okay. So what is the difference between a leader and a manager then?
My understanding would be that a manager is more concerned about what is and making it better, whereas a leader is concerned about what isn't and bringing it into existence.
Okay. So the manager, and so this is not a shot against managers. We need managers.
Oh, yeah.
If the world was nothing but visionaries, it
wouldn't have anybody doing them.
It'd be a terrible place. What a hellish thing that would be. So we need managers to come along. Managers would be some of the people that the leader brings along to help orchestrate and clean up and get the papers from this side of the desk to that side of the desk. So the manager is more concerned about having today run smoothly, and the leader is more concerned about having tomorrow run smoothly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You know, the manager is concerned about today, how to make it better, more effective, more efficient. So quite often a manager might spin off of a leader. A leader is thinking about the future, then the manager is going to think about, well, how can I take those ideas and make them happen today? A leader often is giving most of attention not to today, but tomorrow, next week, and next year, and he's always thinking down the road. But sometimes the leader has to manage to a certain degree, but usually you don't find strength in both of those areas. The person who's that visionary, futuristic leader is not also the same person who's good with details and managing the day by day. That's why I think they work in tandem, the leader and the manager.
So the leader has to know enough about the psychology of the managers to be able to talk to them and persuade them and to communicate his vision to them.
Right, and I think he needs to create it in such a way that he says, I have this idea, I'm dreaming about this, I'd like to see this happen. Then he would turn to the manager and say, tell me about how that could work. What would that look like? How much would it cost? What would be the steps to get there? And is that feasible? Can we do that?
Okay, how would you obviously in every area there with leaders, there are good leaders and poor leaders, and a poor leader could be a very charismatic leader. You have a bunch of people with him but still be a poor leader. And you've got managers, but good managers and poor managers. How I'm assuming from listening to you and having read your book, Leaders Who Last, that you would say that a good manager is someone who buys into the vision and enables the leader to make it happen. How do managers sometimes get in the way? How do managers fail?
Well, I think a manager can fail if he's always raining on the leader's parade.
Okay.
If he's constantly telling, well, we can't do that, that'll never work. So the manager has to have enough confidence and faith in the leader that he's going to do the absolute best he can to try to see that vision happen by managing the details and the logistics and steps. So if the manager is not a faith-filled person, is always negative, oh, we can't do that, that's impossible, we tried that, that'll never work. I think the visionary sooner or later is going to say, I need another manager. I need a manager who can be a can-do rather than a cannot type of person.
That's very good. Now let's flip it around and say, how could a leader sin against a manager?
Well, being demanding, overbearing, insisting that it be done even though it seems impossible, even though people are out of breath and panting and huffing and puffing. But he insists we need to go there. I don't care how you make it happen, just make it happen. So he's being insensitive to the logistics or the steps of trying to get there. So I think they need to work in tandem. I think the manager needs to be a can-do person who's going to do the best he can, but he needs to be honest with the leader. If he thinks it's a stupid idea, I think he needs to tell him, it's an idea, but I don't think it's a great idea, and I think the time frame's off. I think you're trying to do it too quickly. You're going to create a crisis, you're going to wear people out. And then if the leader is a smart leader, he's going to listen to the manager who's in tune with the steps and the people, and hopefully they can work well together.
Very good. And this ties in with another question I was going to ask you. I might as well roll it together here. It seems like oftentimes administrative types, managers, institutional friendly people are scared of the charismatic leader because we've never done it that way before. And charismatic leaders are scared of administration and because they think it's going to just be a fossilized wreck everything sort of thing. It's as though we assume that the only two choices are absolute monarchy, where the visionary gets whatever he wants, or bureaucracy. And if I hear what you're saying there can be a real respectful dependence of administrators and visionaries where they both need each other, both complement each other, and it doesn't have to be monarchy on the one hand or bureaucracy on the other.
There's not a lot of passages of scripture that I know on this, but one of them that I think is interesting is Ecclesiastes 7:18, and in the New International Version it says, it is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. The man who fears God avoids all extremes and follows them both. So they can have a great passage on just balance. It's not either or. We sometimes get into this, well, either we're going to have a great leader and a lousy manager, we're going to have a great manager and a lousy leader, but I don't know why we couldn't have both. If you have the right person, why they can't work in tandem with each other, why they couldn't, by God's grace, defer to one another and respect each other's views and opinions, so together they can make it happen. Because you don't have a good situation if the manager and the leader are adversarial in their relationship, that they mistrust each other, that the leader thinks that the manager is trying to squelch him, rain on his parade, or vice versa, that the leader is asking for the impossible and forcing the manager to do things that goes against his conviction and so forth.
Thank you very much.